today on BKRsport, we're going to be doing a tipping video for round number 19 of the NRL. Now, normally we'd obviously go to a stadium and do it, but it's actually raining here on the Gold Coast. So I thought may as well just stick here and still film a tipping video for you, but a little bit different. Normally I would go to see us at a stadium for it. But guys, obviously this can be an interesting week. I'll be going down to Sydney on Sunday for the Bulldogs versus Titans game, which should be very interesting. That's going to be a close game. There's actually quite a few hard games to predict this week. It's not an easy week at all. We're obviously about 6 weeks now away from the end of the season. Well, the end of the regular season for the finals, which is going to be pretty impressive. But we don't even know which the teams in the 8 yet. You know, there's still a lot of teams that are jostling for that 8 position. I guess with the Panthers have already won the minor premiership. They're already 8 points above, but you know, they're still jostling for that wooden spoon as well. And there's a lot still at play here. So that's where this gets really, really interesting, because a lot of teams that you may think are quite poor and quite not great will actually turn up and have a performance because they're avoiding the spoon or they're avoiding, missing the 8. So it does make things like a team that's outside the 8 going up against, say, Panthers a lot more interesting than you normally think. As always, guys, you may have a different opinion to me. So go down in the comment section below and let me know your tips. But let's get into today's tipping video. Woo-hoo. First up here, Thursday. Don't forget, guys, obviously we'll be streaming pretty much all these games, just not the game on Sunday, the 2 games on Sunday, because I'll be at the Titans-Bulldogs game. That vlog will come out on Monday. But first game here, the Eels versus the Brisbane Broncos. Obviously, the Broncos came through a very tough game against the Titans. Obviously, the Titans had a lot more improved performance. Broncos still had players out. They were able to get the win in the end there, controversially, but they did get the win there in the end. So you've got to really commend the Brisbane Broncos for that one. Parramatta, on the other hand, obviously, they're a very hard team to predict. They're the most hard team to predict ever. It really is so strange, their team. They should be beating the Broncos here quite well, but in the same sense, we all know that they beat the good teams, they lose the bad teams, but is the Broncos a good team, or would you consider them a mediocre team in the middle? I don't know. It's interesting. The Broncos obviously are higher up, but in the same sense, like the league is really strange this year, where there's a real clear difference between the Panthers pretty much everyone else for me. So I really don't know where to put the Broncos there. I'd obviously put them pretty high there, considering where the other teams are at. But in the same sense, I don't know how to read this game. Look, I'm going to go Parramatta here. I'm going to say 1 or 12. I'm going to say it's a close game. I could definitely see the Broncos winning this one. They'll have a few players back, and it's going to be a very close game. This would be a peak Parramatta game to win and show that they're a good team. And then whoever they play next week, I'm not too sure. So I'm going to take Parramatta here, but whoever they play next week, they probably could lose to them. It could be anybody. It could be the West Tigers. They've already lost them this season. Already lost the Dogs this season. Beat Penrith, though. Beat the Storm, though. But lose to those 2 teams. That's why they're such a difficult team to predict. So I'm going to go with Parramatta here. I always go to say Parramatta because that's how I say it usually. But I'm going to go with Parramatta here, but I would not be surprised if the Broncos do get a little bit of a sneaky win down there in Parramatta. Next game here, and I guess it's the margin, but this is whatever. I don't really care. St. George Illawarra Dragons versus the Manly Seagulls at St. George. I don't know whether that's at Cogra. Let's have a look here. No. Yeah, no. Oh, there, no. No, doesn't tell me where. I'm going to get it on my phone. I'm getting it on my phone because I think the Dragons, for me, are probably a little bit better at Cogra than at Wollongong. But then again, that's just me talking my ass. It is Cogra. It is Cogra. So that's going to be an interesting game here against Manly. Now, Manly obviously had a pretty good win on the weekend against the Knights. But it is against the Knights, who are bottom 4. We expected that one. Manly are in the 8 right now, but if they are to lose this game, the Roosters can actually go above them. The Dragons are pretty much going for it's not a last opportunity to get into the 8, but there's a big game for both these teams. The Dragons do sit 4 points. No, they're only 2 points behind Manly, but their points differential is minus 112 to Manly's plus 32. So they'd have to win by about 70-odd, 60, 70-odd to go above Manly there. It could even be more, actually, to be fair. But yeah, look, I think Manly win this. I do. I think Manly win this. This is a very important game for the Dragons, but I'm going to tip Manly, and I'll say 8 just for that purpose. I'll go Manly by 8. I just think that overall, they're a better team. They've got better players. I've been saying all season long, I have no idea why the Dragons are where they are. Ben Hunt is a huge reason for that, but I still don't believe in them overall. We saw them on the weekend really just... Yeah, they were okay against the Roosters. They scored points, but they also conceded a fitty bomb Bombarunos. So, and we did obviously go crazy for that in the chat on the stream. But I'll take Manly here. I think the Dragons will be up for it, but I still think Manly are the more quality side. And it's really going to come down to the wire between Manly and the Roosters for that top 8 spot. Let's move on now to the Newcastle Knights versus Sydney Roosters game. And I'm pretty certain we're all very well aware who I'm going to tip here. I'm going to click this one straight away. So I'm going to take the Roosters there. And that would put the Roosters still 2 points behind Manly. I don't know if the Roosters play Manly towards the end of the season. But at some point, you know, it's actually, let's quickly have a look here to see if Roosters do play Manly. This isn't really this week's tipping, but I guess it'd be interesting to find out. Roosters Knights, Roosters Manly. Oh, next week. Woo-hoo-hoo. Next Thursday night, Manly versus Roosters at Brookie. That's going to be a big one there. So, yeah, look, I think there's not much to really talk about here with the Knights and the Roosters game. The Knights, they are a bottom 4 team. I really think that people overrated them based on the result against the Gold Coast Titans, who obviously are second last right now and haven't won a game in about 13 years. It's a Knights team that really are still struggling. And the Roosters, they're on fire right now with James Tedesco. They're on fire with getting 50 points. They did still concede over 20 points, though, which is a bit of a worry. A bit of a worry there to concede that many points. But yeah, the Roosters should be the better team here and should get the job done for me. And next week, my gosh, I did not know that was coming. That is a big game incoming, sir. Oh my goodness me. Alrighty, Raiders and the Warriors in Canberra. Very weird game to predict here. The Warriors, technically, mathematically speaking, they are a chance to make the 8, but they're not making the 8. They're on 12 points. Manly on 20 points. It's not happening with about 6 games to go there. The Raiders, on the other hand, they're only 2 points out of the 8. You know, they're not doing too badly, to be completely honest with you. It doesn't have the points differential there of the ladder on the other side, so I'm just going to get that. So they're on minus 37, Manly on 32, so they're not actually that far off. By the way, Roosters have a better for and against than Manly, 49 plus, and Manly have plus 32. The Raiders minus 37 there. They would need some things to go their way. I believe the Raiders win this game. I think defensively they are a better team. I think that they've got more to play for, obviously. I think that, you know, they've got a good enough team to be pushing for the 8. I don't know if they've got enough to beat the Manly Seagulls and Roosters to that spot, but I do think they've got a good enough team there. I think there's more stability there than there has been in recent seasons, which is why you're seeing them kind of at least push for the 8. But I do think they'll probably finish in 10th. I think they'll finish above the Dragons there. I do think they'll finish in 10th. And Dragons finish in 11th. And then Roosters Manly is going to be interesting there. And Rabbitohs are still technically in the equation, but I think we all know Rabbitohs will make the 8. So yeah, I think the Raiders will get the job done there, especially at home in Canberra. The Warriors' only wins for the rest of the season will more than likely come from when they're at home in New Zealand, where they play the Titans in the last round. They play the Storm, which will be a tough one at home there. That's next week, I think. But yeah, I'll take the Raiders here. I think they'll be better down there in the Canberra of the Raiderville. Next up here, Panthers and the Sharks. Now, this is an odd odds market. 4-1 for the Sharks is pretty hefty compared to the Panthers at $1.25. Now, this is in obviously Penrith. Penrith are in first place right now. They're not actually playing for anything per se. They just beat the Tigers with an under-16s team. Truly, they did. It was mad from the Tigers there. And the Panthers got the job done, even though they looked terrible. But they were under-16s, basically. You know, they were a D Panthers side going up against the Tigers' professional side. So, you know, you had to expect that they were going to look relatively poor. And they did. The Sharks, on the other hand, but they still got the win. The Panthers, they still got the win. Sharks, on the other hand, I believe I saw something before that they've lost Sione Katoa, which is really sad. That backline was phenomenal. And I was really looking forward to seeing what the Sharks could do going into the end of the season. And look, they're still a very good team. And they're going up against a team that, honestly, on a good day, they could take down. I wouldn't put it past them saying that they could actually get a sneaky win here. I think the 4-1 odds is ridiculous considering that the Sharkies are top 4 right now, I believe. I think they are top 4. Yeah, they are. They're third. They're third above the Melbourne Storm. For and against wise, not as great. But 2 points above the Storm there in third. So I find those odds pretty ridiculous. I think that I'm going to tip Panthers here. But I want to remind you guys that this odds is very good. These odds of 4-1 is very good for a team in third place going up against a Panthers team that, well, that plays back. But I'm just saying, I get the feeling this year. I do get a really weird feeling someone's going to knock the Panthers off. I don't know what it is. I think everyone's so convinced that the Panthers are going to win that there's going to be someone who just surprises. It could be a Parramatta, it could be a Melbourne, it could be a Cowboys, it could be Sharks, it could be Roosters. I keep saying to you guys on my streams, I do believe the Roosters are the surprise packets. I think the underdogs, I think that they are the sneaky little team that no one's looking at right now. But if you get into 8th position, whoever's in 5th, good luck playing them in the first game because that's going to be really interesting. But I'm just telling you, the Panthers are giving me some vibes right now. They're a very good team. They are favourites for the comp. They should be winning the comp. But I think someone's going to be a bit of a mix-up. I think someone's going to give the comp a bit of a shake-up later on in the year. So next up here, so like I said, Panthers, 1-12, could be 13+. But I think the Sharks are very good value there at 4-1. Alrighty, so next up here, we've got the South Sydney Rabbitohs. South Sydney Rabbitohs versus the Melbourne Storm. Very difficult game to predict here in Sydney. Obviously, the Storm lose Pappenhausen for the season, which is really, really painful for them. I think they've lost 3 games in a row now. Is it 2 or 3 games in a row? I think it might be 3 games in a row the Melbourne Storm have lost now. Let me just quickly go and have a look-ski here. So, obviously, the Storm lost to the Raiders, controversially. They should have got a penalty at the end, but in the same sense, they still lost by 4. Lost to the Sharkies, 28-6, a lot of players out. And lost to Manly, 36-30 in that game that they were down by a lot, came back late on, but still lost. I don't know if they can lose 4 in a row, but this Rabbitohs team is looking pretty decent right now. They did give up about 30-odd points to the Doggies, though, which is a bit of a how you going there defensively. Latrell Mitchell-Back is really improving them. Cody Walker doing well. Lachlan Ilias is starting to wake up a little bit more as well. Not really seeing a great deal from Damien Cook at the moment. Cookie Meister, I think it's been one of his poorest years, but in the same sense, I still back him to come back from this year. I'm going to go here. And the reason why I'm going to say Storm is because I just think that 4 in a row is something I've never seen. If they lose 4 in a row, they honestly could be in a very tough predicament in regards to getting a home final. I think that there are teams below them that are, obviously home final goes to 5 and 6 and 1 and 2. They're not going to get a 1 and 2 spot if they lose this game. And if they lose this game, that 5 and 6 spot is looking juicy. But the team in 7th, the Rabbitohs, could start to really make some progress as well. So I'm going to take the Storm. I think it's just a bit more of a, I guess, I don't want to tip against them going for, I don't want to tip them going 4 in a row losses. And I think the Rabbitohs have the ability to do it. I think they can do it. And that's why the odds are so close. But I will take the Melbourne Storm here. Close game though. Next up here, well, it's just obvious. I'm going to tip the Titans here. It's not even letting me tip the Titans. It's not letting me tip anyone. Oh, yeah, cool. Oh, no, there it goes. Now it lets me tip them. I'm going to tip the Titans here. I'm going to be on out of this game. Obviously, I'm a Titans fan. Read into what I'm about to say with your own perspective and then apply it with your own because I'm always going to tip the Titans, right? But this is going to be a pretty good game. Obviously, there's a bit of heat there from what the media is trying to build into about Tina Faisal-Malawi and Tevita Pangai Jr. Tevita's a cat. But he'll sort you out soon, don't you worry. But that's all media, speculation, media hype and nonsense and stuff like that. But in regards to the game, Doggies did well against the Rabbits, still lost the game, conceded a lot of points, but scored quite a few points. Titans, very much improved performance there against the Broncos. You know, the new inclusions of Jojo Fafita worked well. Aaron Booth in the 9, what a bloody player he was on the weekend. Aaron Clark, absolute monster when he comes on there into that lock position. I still believe Tina Faisal-Malawi should be in the prop, and Aaron Clark should be in the 13, Isaac Lee to the bench. But obviously that's not what Justin Holbrook is doing there. I really do believe if the Titans are going to win, this is the one to get it in. I don't believe Josh Adokar is playing. If he does, I still think, you know, it's going to be a close game regardless. Either way, it's going to be a 1-12. I think the odds are pretty rough there for the Titans, considering what we saw on Saturday against a pretty decent Broncos team. But yeah, then again, you know, we never know. And I'm going to back my boys in, week out, is what it is. Hopefully they prove me right this week. Hopefully. Hopefully. But then again, the last game, they're obviously trying to avoid the wooden spoon too. But then again, if the Titans actually, what's the points differential? I think the Dogs are going to be a better points differential here. I think they do. Minus 127, minus 176. The Titans would have to win by about 30-odd. They'd have to win by about 30-odd to go above the Doggies, which is crazily out of the question. It is out of the question. But at least it's not 70, 80. So if the Titans won by about 30-odd, they'd go above the Bulldogs in 14th, and the Bulldogs would go down into 15th. And the Tigers then would be on their own with 2 points differential, with down there at 8 compared to the 2 of them at 10. And then we get, obviously, the Cowboys and Tigers game here, which is up in North Queensland. I'm not going to sit around and muck around there. I'm going to take the Cowboys straight away. One, the Tigers were deplorable. That was disrespectful to the fans for them to lose. And then for Noddy to come out and say, like, oh, it was disrespectful to the Panthers. No, mate. It was disrespectful to the Tigers. The Tigers disrespected their fans by losing that game to an under-16s D-grade Panthers team that were also terrible, mind you. They also made a lot of mistakes. They were also pretty poor in that game, the Panthers. and the Tigers still found a way to lose it despite being up with 5 minutes to go. Right, Noddy needs to stop blaming other teams and start blaming your own team. Right, otherwise you're not going to take accountability. And this is what a lot of people have had to do with Holbrook this season. I think that, Holbrook's doing what he can, but I think that with what Noddy is saying, it really is taking the responsibility away from his own team, putting it onto the other team, and no one's buying it. No one's buying it was the Panthers' fault for the Tigers' loss there because of the disrespect and whatnot. If anything, it should have actually fired you up to get that win even more, but what do you want? Them to play their full team? You would have gotten beaten by 60? It was a possibility. Cowboys, on the other hand, obviously they're pretty good. They're a good team this year. Proved everyone wrong. Still are proving everyone wrong. I don't believe they can win the comp, but I think that, then again, like I said before, I think there is something happening later on in the season that someone will sneak a win over the Panthers when it's a knockout, and I just genuinely, for some reason, feel like we're going to get a surprise. I don't know what it is, but it could be the Cowboys. I kind of hope it's the Cowboys because I win like $400 if it's the Cowboys because I have them in the BKRsport sweepstakes where we did at the beginning of the season. One person each gets a team, and I was so unhappy that I got the Cowboys. I thought they were going to get the spoon. Now I'm happy. I'm like, yeah, okay, cheers, boys. This will be the biggest underdog win I've ever seen. So yeah, I'll take the Cowboys here. I think it's probably going to be 13 plus. It's at North Queensland as well. Tigers will stay on the bottom of the table, and they've got to pray to God the Titans don't beat the Dogs, because if the Titans beat the Dogs, the for and against the Tigers is going to be absolutely askew in the opposite direction, and the Titans and Bulldogs will also be 2 points above them, which actually kind of means that they need to win 2 more games than just the 1. Because right now, the Tigers are still well and truly in that points differential race at -198, Titans at -176, and Bulldogs at -127. But to throw this into the equation, if the Titans were to, say, beat the Dogs by 30, right, that would put the Dogs down to -157. That would put the Titans up to -147. And let's assume the Cowboys put 30 past the Tigers here. That would put them outside of the -200 range, -228. So they'd be about 70 to 80 points differential behind those 2 teams above them, plus the 2 points that they do have in hand. But I do actually want to quickly check here, and this will be the last thing I say, do the Tigers play the Dogs? So I know the Tigers don't play the Titans again this season, but do the Tigers play the Dogs? The Tigers play Cowboys, then the Tigers play the Broncos at Suncorp. Tigers then get the Knights, which is, I guess, a winnable game, but still the Tigers. Then the Tigers play the Sharks. And then finally, then they've got the Roosters. And then the last 2 games, the Tigers have the Dragons. And the last game of the season is against the Raiders. I don't think so. So, at this point, it really is starting to seem like the Tigers are going to get the spoon. But, guys, that's going to do my tips for today. I hope you have enjoyed. Obviously, if you like these type of videos more, comment below. If you'd rather me at the stadium doing what I normally do, comment that below. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing my fantasy Premier League team for you guys all to see. We'll be streaming the boxing tonight. Plus, we've also got NRL on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But on Sunday, I'll be heading on down there. There'll be video coming out on that day anyway, so there's not just no content. But yeah, I won't be doing the Titans Bulldogs game or the Cowboys Tigers game. Appreciate you as usual. Thumbs up, subscribe. Appreciate ya, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.